Meditation this morning is about life, and it's about life in a pond. Ponds are incredible ecosystems. Unless polluted by humans, they're self-sustaining and naturally balance themselves. This is a meditation to help you feel loved and to quiet your mind. So take a deep cleansing breath and imagine yourself sitting in the middle of a huge lily pond on a lily pad. It's early in the morning. The frogs are singing. There are dozens of water lily buds standing proudly. As you look over the edge of your lily pad, you see lots of small fish swimming around. When they see your shadow, they dive deep into the pond. The sun strikes the water, and you watch dozens of pink water lilies open and greet the day. As you watch the petals unfold, you feel your heart open and fill with love. You take a deep breath and watch as dragonflies drift by, just touching the surface of the water. You watch water spiders darting around, seemingly walking on the water. You are fascinated with all the different life forms that inhabit the pond. As you watch in awe, you realize you're no longer sitting on the lily pad. You are standing beside the pond, and you smile at the gift you have just been given. Namaste.
Would you like to have more of that sacred spiritual connection? Our minister is here to support you in learning to live from this place. And now, continuing our theme for this month, transformation, is today's speaker, our interim minister, Reverend Dr. Nadene Rogers, with her talk entitled The Creative Process at Work. Please help me welcome Dr. Nadene Rogers, Reverend Dr. Nadene Rogers.
Thank you so much, Gail. And Felicia, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Kim, lovely visual. Just a beautiful setup for how this cause back of all life, whatever we choose to call it, is always at work, providing for us exactly what we need in the moment that we need it. So a personal thank you from me to you. So I welcome all of you again this week and those that are joining us for the first time. It's good to be with you. You know, here at CSL West Hawaii, like in all affiliate members of the Centers for Spiritual Living, we're about the business of learning how to apply practical spirituality in our everyday lives. And we do so based on the teachings primarily of Dr. Ernest Holmes, called the Science of Mind and Spirit. You know, we began this year with the idea or the concept of transformation, rather than making it a goal to end with. You know, we often start off the year going, this is what I need to improve. This is what didn't work last year. This is how I want to expand my consciousness this year. This is how I want more joy. This is how I want this. I want that. And while that's wonderful because you're aware, right, of moving into a greater state of awareness and aliveness, what if we started from the place of saying everything that is is absolutely divine and perfect the way it is, it kind of puts a different spin on things. And for me, it helps me relax more into the moment, to be present in the moment, to be more at peace in the moment, and therefore more open to the possibility of the universal creative process moving through me in greater and expanded ways. Because there's nothing in me that's saying, I want it different, right? Or meaning, this isn't what I want something different, more, better. So we're going to start with the idea of transformation, right? Because creating moments that we can stand still in, that feel like spiritual illumination, a radiance, are very important for us. They help build our faith, right? And they help assure us and affirm to us that the choices that we make and the way we're living our lives is working. And that's the place where nothing needs to be said, for it's so purely felt. So yes, we are using the concept of the power of transformation to guide us this month, and the foundational teaching of the science of mind and spirit to ground us as our starting point. I think it's important that this is our starting point, because it's important for us to become self-reliant, self-satisfying in our own self-authority through the use and practice of these principles, to build that confidence of empowerment that, yes, God is not some separate concept, but that God is moving in as and through us. And goodness knows we need to be reminded, right? But it's through our own practice that we are reminded. So to understand the universal creative process, we must hold the idea of the impelling personal nature of God as love, and the impersonal responsive nature of God as law, and see its movement in this way. Love leads the way, or inspires the new life, the creation, and it is manifest through the law of its being. So love guides the way, and law makes it happen. Love and law are inseparable. They cannot work without one another. They work together as a whole, as one unified energy through which diversity of form happens. Now, this is the universal creative process working. It works as all, in all, equally, in the same fashion, giving selflessly the fullness of itself at all times, whether we're talking in the realm of the absolute or the invisible, right, where all substance already exists in the field of potentiality, or whether we're speaking of it in terms of the relative, our relative experience of it. And it's when we choose to align with this impersonal, creatively intelligent law of mind that we make relevant the love of God. So as we align with it, we start to see the corresponding images, experiences, and forms of that which we have chosen to focus upon, and of that which we are convinced that we believe in actually appear, right? And when things appear through us, through the workings of the part we play, along with the ultimate creator or cause, the infinite intelligence, boy, can we feel the love of God, right? We're more in love than ever at that time. We're not like, I don't know, why does it work for her and not for me? So that's why we're practicing, and that's why we need to know kind of how it works, right? So as we put this concept into practice, we are, yes, repeatedly made aware of our growth in faith, in both the science of the creative process and the claiming of our true nature as love to inspire our choices. And of course, as I spoke the first week of January, we mustn't ever forget our growth of faith in the mystery, which is the existence and the activity, the sum total of the field of potentiality that the law draws from to fulfill our claim. And it does so always in accordance to its nature of wholeness, completion, and perfection. So ultimately, our resulting experience from the action of this law corresponds with our order placed upon it and what we are willing to accept and receive. So as humans, we share the journey of self-actualization, to become spirit and strive toward a spiritual ideal for our life. And our souls seek to be the expression of our divine understanding through our humanity, which makes us unique, striving towards the evolution that is achieved through experiencing the imperfections or perfection of the imperfection of life in this physical reality. So then why do we need to have faith or more faith? We clearly do not need faith to feel connected or connection, or even secure in those moments in this world of ours. Or do we? I don't think it's about having enough faith to get something in order to feel connected and secure in this world. I'll just state that. I think faith is about trusting the inner knowing as divine guidance. Ultimately, that means trusting ourselves and our choice to pay attention long enough so that the healing, or I would rather phrase it this way, because healing makes us feel like something is not working right. Something needs to be fixed or it's broken. So I like to use the term, the revealing of our innate wholeness takes place in our lives. Faith is about trusting the unseen connection with spirit in times, especially when we feel separate and alone. And we've discussed the nature of the thing as being universal energy or mind, intelligence, a personal experience of God as love directed through the impersonal activity of God as law within each of us. Because our lives matter, and since thought creates, we know that it behooves us to understand and use this universal creative process consciously. In other words, in the way that it works, to create truly magnificent lives. The universal creative process by which the invisible potential moves into experience or reality in our lives is through us, according to the use we make of it. Now, we use it every day, every moment. We use it either consciously or we use it unconsciously. So what is available to us from this infinite potential, field of potential, is according to the use we make of it, right? And what is available to us is just equal to as much as we can believe and receive. Because it's pouring in, right? It's pouring in, and we're the one that filter. I don't think this, I resist this, I don't deserve this, right? I don't have the capacity to live up to that. I'm afraid my life will change if this. We don't, consciously we say, come on, bring it on, life. We want to feel alive, but do we? Based on how we use the law in its own nature, which means for the highest good, to be revealed through us, which is in accordance with its nature, joy, peace, power, prosperity, abundance, love, right? And, sometimes we can better embrace that which we know, which of course we're always evolving beyond, but that which we know seems to be more comfortable than the grand possibility of having it all. So it's a process. That's why we have to keep practicing. And as we spiritually mature, we begin to experience this abiding presence within us everywhere we go. And to that degree, shall we see it manifesting in our lives through the use of the law. So Dr. Holmes says the seed of perfection is within. That means to me that we're all created in the image and likeness of this God, this intelligence, and that spiritual pattern of our DNA is absolutely perfect. We don't need to add anything, modify it, question it. It's there. And it's in our lack of awareness we have misused the highest power we possess. So complete is our freedom to choose within this power, so is our misuse of it. And when we misuse it, not for our highest good, we get varying degrees of so-so outcomes, and you might even say conditions that create a sense of suffering in us. The power which appears to bind us is the only power in the universe which can free us. All suffering comes from being, and this is in Dr. Ernest Holmes' wording, ignorant of our true nature. You probably all agree with that, right? I mean, we see our true nature, we feel it here and there, but I don't know that any one of us has really embraced its full capacity. It's not something, because it's always evolving anyway, right? And so where the seed of perfection lies dormant within us, awaiting its activation and unfoldment, is what our part of what we do in activating that law. It's through the direction of use of God mind that we do this. And we know that each unique seed thought has within it, again, all that it needs to fulfill its potential, because it is inherent in its spiritual pattern of the wholeness and completion and perfection I just spoke of. We cannot recognize that it is while we are believing that it is not, right? We cannot use this power while there is unbelief, or we are, as you've heard the term, a house divided against itself. Let me give you an example. If we can say, I can experience a little good, so much money a month, these specific qualities in relationship, this much free time within my busy schedule, then, according to the law, which is impersonal, affirmative, and corresponds to your belief, then so be it. That's what we get. If we, all of us, have experienced a little good, right? Or we all have experienced a little good. And if that law works through us to manifest a little good, then what is it we must think to manifest our greatest good? See, that's the part we play, right? When consciousness speaks, the law receives and executes. It's that simple. When a farmer plants a seed, right, which is a metaphor for thought, he invokes the law. And what follows is the mechanical side of nature producing the result. But often we're not clear on the seed we want to plant, but we're very interested and busy in how to produce the result and what the result is. See, we've got it backwards. We're trying to do God's job. And believe me, God won't have it. I mean, it's an automatic mechanical system. It keeps life being life. And it doesn't matter what we think in, or how contorted we may get, or how resistant we may get, it will still produce its nature in the highest form of what we can receive. Okay? We can't change it. It's an absolute. The spiritual laws which govern the universe are all involved in the operation of the universal creative process, right? Moving the invisible idea, right? It's like our idea is like the water. Sorry, our idea is like the mold of the ice cube tray. You might have heard this before. And spirit pours itself into it to create the form. Right? So the spiritual laws that are involved in the universal creative process is ultimately the mother of them all, which is the law of cause and effect. But in the law of cause and effect, there are various aspects of the process. So the law of growth, the law of correspondence, the law of attraction. They're all working. Once we clearly know what we want to implant into the law, we want to give it our order, then a spiritual prototype is built, and everything else follows systematically in logical sequential order. So let me ask you this. I want to do a little exercise with you. What seed in your life have you not yet reaped the harvest from? Just pick one. And I invite you just to take a breath and walk through this with me step by step. I'd like you to first open your mind to the idea that there is an invisible cause back of all life that is present everywhere at the same time, accessible within you through the law of your being, your belief system, that knows exactly what to do to create your desired reality. I just want you to open your mind to that idea. And now I'd like you to feel the connection with this power for good or presence of love or universal spiritual intelligence, this creative force. Feel what it feels like, this presence, this power within. And now I'd like you to go back to this one idea, this one seed, and be clear about it. I'd like you to review in your mind specific details as if you are already experiencing it happening now. How does it make you feel? How does it make you feel? Most importantly, how does it make you feel? And when you have conversations in your head about this, always use present tense, right? It's always about the presence. Because if you can feel it and you can believe it, then you can claim it. You will have conviction. And now just give thanks. Just give thanks for this moment now, for the good that is in your life. And this is perhaps, some say, one of the most important things we must do in regards to what is ours to do in the manifestation process, which is we need to release the idea or the desire. We need to release it. We need to give it over and let the law produce the outcome. We need to trust that God as law and love knows what to do with it. Now, did you feel in any one of those 5 steps that you got distracted, that you felt doubt? Did you feel unclear? Did you feel stuck? Did you feel resistance? If so, know that if you thought you had planted this seed without any results to date in your own life, the planting hasn't actually taken place. You have not planted it. You have dug it up. And you have done so as evidence of where you just in this exercise experienced a challenge. Now, perhaps you're not clear and can't easily and specifically visualize your desire. Or perhaps you cannot trust in the action of the law. Or perhaps you do not believe the power to create anything is within you. But rather the idea of, you like fortune, right? Or luck, maybe luck or good luck, right? Or how about miracles, right? It happens every once in a blue moon, but it's got nothing to do with you. Maybe those concepts carry more truth in your mind. But if you don't plant the seed and trust God as law to make manifest your desires and dreams, then you will keep getting what you've always got, and you will stay in a sense and a mindset of wanting. Therefore, it is our belief that sets the limit to our demonstration of a principle which, in and of itself, is without limit. And remember, we can't coerce, negotiate, right? Or will things to be done. Things are brought into being by the power of self-assertive conviction of what is true. So it is never a question of its willingness to give us something, nor is it a question of its ability. It is entirely a question of our own clarity and receptivity. So I want to ask you, did anyone ever say to you when you were younger, or maybe very recently, will you pay attention, please? Right? Pay attention. Anyone a daydreamer out there, procrastinator, maybe a multitasker with a struggle to focus and commit to what is in front of you? So the paying attention I'm speaking about is a diligent willingness to be available to life. How about that? As it shows up, a diligent, constant willingness to be available to life as it shows up, rather than having it be, looking at it, perceiving it as an obstacle to surmount. You see, when we're paying attention to a yet unrealized possibility of each situation we come across, we move into a different dimension than a life centered on human survival, right? Getting through each day. Many call this a universal creative process living the triune life, right? Or the Christ consciousness, a dimension of thought that has been written about and demonstrated to heal the sick, to open the eyes of the blind, and repair the brokenhearted. The triune life is a life lived within the sight of all creation being a threefold process. The seed, or our conscious mind, actively creating through our subconscious part of mind, the soil, right? And the result, which is the body of our affairs, or the harvest of the seed. The seed, the soil, the plant, right? And even if we choose to look and pay attention to those places in our lives that have been experienced and named as unfortunate or bad or unjust, we can begin to see the threefold creative process unfolding and the part we played in. When we choose to pay attention and be willing to be available to what life is calling us to, it can be likened to laying our eyes on that which legend has described as the Holy of Holies, or the Ark of the Covenant, the secret place of the Most High. For when we pay attention and bring to experience even the tiniest vision of our impersonal God self working as us, in that instance, our old self identity ceases to exist and we never see ourselves in quite the same way ever again. Now, I'll share a personal reference with you. Twice in my life, I have laid my eyes upon the Ark of the Covenant, where I've been willing to be available to what life called me to. The first time, I became a clown. The second time, I became a minister. Both which have pushed me beyond fear, beyond belief in what I felt or even sensed I had the capacity to hold, and onto a deepened path of joy and gratitude. And of course, as we move forward, the embodiment of our spiritual nature, we will continue to wear parts of the old mask, to assist us to fulfill our earthly purpose. And from time to time, we shall even forget that we are not the mask. Doesn't matter. It's all okay. All is revealed in divine timing and action. And as we grow our faith in the love that we are and the power of the law of our own being and the willingness to welcome in the mystery, seeming miracles are revealed, So ours is just to relax into and trust that deep inside of us, the awareness of our impersonal essentials being will never completely fade. Instead, it will inspire through love and it will transform our lives. So how much can you believe? You will believe as much as you can accept within your own consciousness that is no longer repudiated by your own denials. And whatever that is, that much you can have or demonstrate. You know, for me, as I have continued to road test my faith in the universal creative process, to work with it and let it work through me, and practice what is mine to do as co-creator of my reality, I have learned to accept and claim more good than I experienced yesterday. The science of mind and spirit is a philosophy and a way of living that guides our growth in knowing that if we apply sound practical knowledge and perfect faith, that as high as we can make our mark in mind and spirit, so shall it be its outward manifestation in our material world. So I'll leave you with this. Let us remember those words of yesterday that echo, that state, good and loving kindness shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. And so it is. Mahalo.